Here with LCP Stat, going to talk today about how to add an item or service to a particular life care plan. Here we go. With LCP Stat open, you can go ahead and click on your Cases tab, either here in the dashboard, or you can click the Cases tab up here in your toolbar. Either one takes you to Open Cases. So I'm going to click on the case that we're working on here and click on the Life Care Plan tab. Now already you should have probably entered client demographic information. This is how we actually begin building, and then we'll start with the Life Care Plan by clicking the Life Care Plan tab. Here you can see I have a bunch of different options for this one that I've already begun. We have dates, plan numbers, duration, number of items, costs, and all that kind of stuff. This stuff will come, and so what we're going to do is we're going to just pick up with this plan option 4. We see that we have no items in there currently, so we're going to learn how to add a new item. Now, before we do that, we have to create a plan. So the way that we got these plan options here is by clicking this button here, New Plan. So why don't we go ahead and do that? New Plan. This gives us this untitled plan that you see here. Number 2, untitled. It would be the first one in your list if you haven't created any yet. To change the information about that plan, to give it a different name, to change the duration of the plan, you're going to click on the plan name. Currently it's untitled, and this little window pops up. So I can give it a new name. I'm just going to call it Test Plan, and you can give it your own numbering. Here I'm just going to call it number 10, just to get it away from these other numbers that I have. The due date, that's for me is arbitrary at this point. You may know when the due date is, you may not. If you know it, go ahead and put it in there. If not, don't worry about it, you can change it later. Date completed, same thing. Duration, we're going to go ahead and just call this a 10-year plan, just for the sake of putting a number in there, and save it. Now we see that what was called untitled is now called Test Plan. It has our plan number 10. It has our due date, which we left in there, and the duration. We have no items and no cost. So let's go in now and begin to add new items. Back down here at the bottom, New Item Service. Click that. And now we're in the item service list. First thing we're going to do is add an item. Now, for me, I've used this a few times, and so I have some items and services already listed. You may not have any items or services in your list yet. That's fine. As you build your plans, your list can continue to grow. The easiest way to do this for future plans is to click on this arrow here that I clicked on to get the drop down, come down to the bottom of the list and click on the word Edit. Here you can add other items to your list simply by hitting the return key and typing in a new item, whatever you want that to be. You can see I've got the list of all of these in mind. I've added all of these myself. You'll add the ones that are important to you as you go along, so don't worry about that. You can just add them as you build your plan. So click OK and go back to the drop down, and I scroll at the bottom and see there are the items that I added. New item, new service. I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to say Case Manager. The next, we're just going down the list. Purpose. We're going to say Evaluate the Home. You're going to add Frequency Replacement, whatever that might be. This data is pre-populated in yours. You can adjust it or add to it, again, by clicking the drop-down arrow and clicking Edit. If you need to adjust one of these, just go to that line, highlight it, and type in whatever you want to type. If you want to add to it, go to the last item, hit return, and then type in whatever you need to say. Then when you go back to that drop down, scroll to the bottom, and there's the item that you added. Simple as that. So you add your frequency replacement. I'm going to say one time only. recommended by. You can continue to add people to this list. You could say Doctor Who, and then choose that doctor and choose a date. Unit of measure, area. This is your area of service. This list will be populated as well. You choose the area appropriate for whatever item or service that you've selected, and that gets added to it. Now, in the beginning, when you created your client demographic, you told LCP Stat what year this person was born and the year of the incident, and it already knows the age of that person in whatever year that you choose here. So this is the year that the plan is going to begin, 2013. It knows that our client is 71 years old this year. We said that we want it to be a 10-year plan, so we're going to go 10 years out, 2023. Now, the confusing thing is we said we wanted to go 10 years out, but it's added the number 11 here, inclusive dates, and it says 11, not 10. That's because it's important that we use this inclusive dates, yes or no. So if I click, it's going to say 1. If I click it, add as a 1, it's going to say yes. That means that this item or service that we're adding is going to need to begin day 1, not in a year from now. I know normally when we calculate years or items in the future, we don't count the year that we're currently in. However, in terms of items or services for this particular plan, sometimes those items, or services need to begin day 1. That would mean that this item is inclusive. So you would say yes. If not, if it doesn't need to start this year, it can begin next year, then you can click where it says yes and say no. And it changes that number to 10, that value to 10. Okay? So then you go in, you hit the duration of that item. You're just going to say this is going to be one time. And the utilization frequency, I would go ahead and put in the number 10 for the duration of your plan, and then you can make your calculations from there. So the item cost, we're going to go in, you're going to find the low cost, the low bid, the high bid, and you're going to put those figures in here, and we're just going to say 500, and in the other one we're going to say 600. So 500 for the low cost, 600 for the high cost. You can see that it averages out the low and the high cost for you. We're going to get into the calculator in another video, but I just want to go back to this utilization frequency so you understand why we have that. This basically says how often is this item or service going to be utilized through the course of the plan. Now, we said that this is only going to be one time, but in the utilization frequency, we said it's going to be 10. You can do this a number of different ways. I like to do it where I put the duration of the plan in this box because it helps me calculate. I can say this cost $550 divided by 10 is going to give me my total cost. So I can divide that one cost by 10 years, and I can divide that cost over the life of the plan. So that's kind of why I use that number. You can do your math in a number of different ways. That's just the way that I've chosen to do it. Well, that's all for adding an item and a service. Then we'll come back with some other information, some details. We'll go through this window a little bit more in detail in the next video.